Speaking of elections, though, it's funny because last night I'm outside the cellar.
You just found out about Mamdani.
What?
Nothing.
What's his name?
Mamdani.
Mamdani.
Yeah.
That sounds like something a pussy would call Donald Trump. That's Mamdani. You know?
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Mamdani.
Did you see that video he released that was like the R&B Daddy's Home?
The Usher thing.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you can't really knock the fact that whoever runs his shit really knows how to be funny and also like incense
Trolling.
the other half.
Yeah.
They are very good at that.
No, he's got a good social media
And you
team
can
for
buy
sure.
Daddy's Home t-shirts from the White House. The White House is making the money.
All proceeds go to fix the potholes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. But we were standing outside the cell. It's also funny that they say the Trump thing because for some reason on the podcast that I just put out, there's been like a few people being like too classic. Like they said something. Someone said something like, "Let me guess, just by the format of the show and looking at them, I could tell they're hard alt-right comics." And I was like, "In what capacity?"
Yeah.
Only alt-right looks for a new host.
Yeah. I was like, I get.
A
and
lefty
it's also
would have considered.
Well, that is like a new thing. I mean, I think people are just like, oh, it's white guys doing a podcast. It must be a hate
hard
crime.
right. Yeah. It must be a hate crime.
That's why I demand Andy wear spandex under his shorts.
Yeah. But
I always have to come out with the thighs just to let people know we are LGBT friendly.
Yeah.
Not to the Q. But
never
LGBT.
the Q.
Yeah.
But we're standing outside the cellar and we're talking about it, and I go, and everyone's like, oh, what's something good about him? What's something bad about him? About like what he wants to do in the office and stuff. And someone's like, well, he does want less police presence. And then everyone started like kind of reacting to that and like, I don't know. It's like kind of, especially around the cellar, it's such a dangerous, violent area, more so than it's ever been. And Ari is there with me, and he's like, I disagree. I think when you go like a block or two away from this place, I'm like, I think this is like one of the safest. This is like, it's safe. This city feels so safe. And dude,
I love Ari's take. If the murder's not happening to me, there is no murder.
yeah, that's what a lot of people feel. But so cartoonishly, as he says, it's like he finishes that sentence. A cop car comes screeching up across from Village Underground at where the 7-Eleven is, ditches his car and like leaves it in the street, door open,
running,
and just starts sprinting towards kind of like near the basketball courts. And we were outside just hanging out, and Ari and I have the same instinct where all the other comics go, "Whoa, that's crazy!" And Ari
he quickly shoots Matt Richards and keeps running.
Doesn't even look. But Ari and I have that thing of being like, well, yeah, I mean, let's go see what's going on there. Everyone else is just watching from a distance. So Ari and I go up and follow it, and we catch this. Like right as we're walking up, we're seeing the aftermath of all this going on. So first we see a guy he looks like a white, like Bautista, like the wrestler actor, like just this giant aggro crag of a man. And he was wearing a white wife beater, but one side of it was ripped. Oh. And he was literally walking shoulders first. And I just see the cops, like 7 cops on one guy. And I'm like, dude, are you okay? Because he's walking by me and he just goes, New York, am I right? And then like keeps walking. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Hold on. You fucking talked to this man?
Oh yeah, Ari and I were like basically filling out the report. We were rubbernecking to a level that we were standing this far away from where the incident was, because it's like there's no privacy in New York. And so what happened was there was this drug addict, like homeless, crazy guy that was around, no shirt on and like loose sweatpants, cuffed at the top, and apparently was just kind of causing trouble with people. And then he just fully assaulted a woman, was just like punching her and kicking her.
Who did she vote for?
What did she do to deserve that?
Who did she vote for?
She was a white woman.
Was she wearing a Daddy Cuomo shirt?
Yeah, it was, but he was just this poor woman was just getting like assaulted. And then this guy started running, and then that giant white guy saw him and immediately,
hero.
And I go, what happened? And he just goes, he ran into the wrong guy. And later we find out this guy is a undercover or just like a off-duty officer or whatever. And he just was like shaking his fist because the guy came running, he grabbed him, threw him hard onto a car hood, then threw him onto another car hood, and then just like cracked him in the face. And then the guy dropped down, and then all the people jumped on top of him. Then we're watching like the
There is nothing, by the way, a cop is waiting for more than a moment like that.
Yeah.
Is just the ability to not be armed necessarily, but to fucking tee off with your
that
fist.
is kind of a perk of the job. And then so they're on top of him. They're on top of it, especially because it's like it's justified beating now because you're like, this guy's obviously like nuts on drugs, but also he just beat the shit out of a woman who's like laying there bleeding. And so it's like this, like, oh, double fuck you, dude, for hitting him. And so much so that one of the other like local crack fiends was standing at the basketball courts and was yelling at the guy who was getting subdued. And he was like, he's like, how dare you, man? He's like, you fucked up that woman, that poor woman so bad. She didn't deserve that. I don't give a fuck if I was in Bellevue with you. You're a piece of shit. Wow. And then the police officers knew who this guy was. He was like, I must have been a regular because they're like, Walter, take a walk, Walter. And he's like,
it's like when Dwight Schrute doesn't talk to the cops. Yeah. We got it from here, Dwight.
Yeah, exactly. So he wanders off, and then the guy goes to check on the woman, and I guess she was getting medical attention or whatever. And then they pick this guy up and they start bringing him into the cop car. And Ari and I are literally like, then there's a chain link fence there. Ari and I are just against the fence, like two little kids, and now other comics are starting to watch too. And a funny moment happened too was there was the two car owners that got, damaged. They were, both Uber drivers, and they were waiting. And one was like just a quiet Indian man who was very like patiently being like, my car hood's dented. I got to wait for the police and all this. And the police were still kind of like subduing this guy. And I guess the other guy was also an Uber driver, and he was like this Eastern European sort of like, like strong necked, like bearded guy. And he must have been both angered and impatient while the police were like subduing this guy and been like, my car, which, so this cop walks up to him, this black cop walks up to this white guy, and he was like, and he goes, when I tell you to back the fuck up, he's like, I don't give a fuck. He goes, let me tell you something. I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck about your car. He goes, I don't give a fuck about anything in your life. When I tell you to back the fuck up, and then he like shoved the guy. He's like, I mean, back the fuck up. And he's like, do you understand me? And the guy is like just trying to like be a tough guy. Now he's, doesn't want to. And he goes, yes or no? Do you understand? And he's just yelling in this guy's face. And the guy's just like,
I do think it should be legal in that moment to beat the ever-loving shit out of that cop.
Oh, that cop would have killed the guy.
That's fine. But I just think that level of like, I understand it's frustrating. It's all this stuff. But listen, you literally work on the tax dollars. We literally pay your bills. Show some fucking compassion and ability to de-escalate. See, no, in this way, Italian cunt.
Can we go backwards? The whole thing.
Sorry, bleep that, Nicole.
What did you call
it's nothing. I
Italian cunt.
It was a black guy who did that.
Well, yeah, then you shouldn't be able to.
Part Italian.
Yeah. No, we empower them here on this podcast.
He's
At least
Tunisian.
that's what I thought, But no, he like threw him on the car, so he like shoved him back and everything. But it was a thing of like this guy didn't have the awareness. They're like chasing this guy, and the guy's like, police, like, come on, you're dead in my hood, dude. You know what I mean?
Everybody can be wrong at the same time.
Yeah. But then they ended up all figuring out, and then they had the black sassy cop be the one who fills out all the reports with the white European guy, the Eastern European guy, and he was so pissed because she just was like not having any of his shit and was like, what happens now is I fill out the report. Where is your driver's license? Like, that like DMV level, like,
yes.
like, oh, the passive, not even passive aggressive, just aggressive. And you're like, what a great, but what were you saying?
Real quick, just a quick aside, I got taken for a ride at the DMV. I wanted just
that's called a driver's test.
I mean, that's why you make the big bucks, buddy. That's excellent.